Tonight, I want you to listen carefully. These aren't just ghost stories. They're real encounters told by people who still don't sleep the same after what they saw. Three houses, three nightmares, a hidden room that shouldn't exist, a window that watches you back, and a basement that never ends. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and remember, if you hear something behind you, don't look back. I moved into that old two-story house in late October, right before the leaves started turning brown. It was cheap, too cheap, and the owner said it'd been empty for years. I didn't mind the creaks in the wood or the occasional flicker in the lights. I just wanted peace and a roof over my head. On my second night, I found a small door in the hallway upstairs. It was wedged between two closets, so narrow that I'd missed it the first time. What made me stop was that it didn't appear on the floor plan the landlord had shown me. Curious, I opened it. Inside was a staircase going down, not up. That didn't make sense. This was the second floor, but the air coming from below was cold, damp, and smelled like rust. I went down 3 steps before I heard breathing. Not mine. Slow, deliberate breaths. I froze. My phone light barely reached the bottom, but I could see something. A shadow, human-shaped, facing me. I turned and ran back to my room, slammed the door, and stayed up all night. The next morning I checked again. The small door was gone, as if it had never been there. 2 weeks later, I got a call from the landlord. They'd found something behind the drywall during renovation in the house's upper hallway. A hidden room, sealed off decades ago. Inside were bones, small ones, like a child's. He asked if I'd noticed anything strange while living there. I lied and said no, but every night since then, I still hear slow breathing near my bedroom wall. When I was 16, my family moved into a quiet house on the edge of town. It wasn't big, but it had a strange charm, mostly because of the huge window in my bedroom. It faced the woods directly, giving me a full view of the trees that looked black at night. The first week was peaceful, but then I started noticing something wrong. Every night when I turned off my lights, I'd catch a faint reflection in the window. Not mine. It looked like someone else's face, pale and still, staring back at me from outside. At first, I thought it was a trick of the light, maybe my imagination, but one night I decided to test it. I waved my hand at the window. The reflection didn't move, it just blinked. I ran downstairs to tell my dad, but when he came up to check, the window showed nothing but the dark forest. He laughed it off, told me I'd been watching too many horror videos. 2 nights later, I woke up at 3 a.m. to tapping on the glass. Slow, rhythmic taps, as if someone was trying to get my attention. When I looked, I saw handprints on the outside of the window. Small, smeared, as if pressed by wet skin. The next morning, I checked outside, expecting footprints in the dirt under the window. There were none. The ground was untouched. We moved out 3 months later after my mom began hearing whispers in the living room at night. But before we left, I took one last look at my bedroom window. And for a split second, I saw that same pale face again. Except this time, it was on the inside. Last year, I rented a small house outside of Denver. It was old, built sometime in the 1950s, but it had character. Wooden floors, brick fireplace, and a large basement for storage. The landlord warned me that the basement light switch didn't always work, and that sometimes the bulb flickered because of bad wiring. No big deal, I thought. The first time I went down there, I counted 12 steps from the main floor to the basement. It was cold and damp, just what I expected. There were shelves, old tools, and boxes full of junk left by the previous tenant. But one night around 2 a.m., I woke up to a noise. A dragging sound coming from below the floorboards, like someone was pulling something heavy across the concrete. I grabbed a flashlight and went down. As I descended, I counted again. 13 steps. That wasn't right. There had always been 12. When I reached the bottom, the basement looked longer, like it stretched farther than before. I walked forward, shining the flashlight ahead, and noticed another door at the far end, one I'd never seen before. It was old and wooden, with deep scratch marks near the handle. I opened it slowly. Behind it was another set of stairs leading down. I stood there for a long moment, then started counting as I went down again. 14, 15, 16 steps. The air grew colder, the smell of soil stronger. My flashlight began to dim, and when I turned back, the door I came through was gone. I kept walking. I don't know for how long. The stairs just kept going. The next morning, my neighbor called the police after hearing my front door wide open and the lights still on. They found the house empty, no sign of me. But the basement door, it was locked from the inside. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. Remember, every story starts as just a rumor until it happens to you. If you enjoyed these haunted house stories, make sure to subscribe for more real horror every week. And tonight, when you turn off the lights and everything goes quiet, just make sure the house you're in is really empty. Good night and sleep well.